Now, apostles, they're easy targets. They'd lose their head if it wasn't attached.
But watch, they do not catch you. Me accessing general reading array.
Stop here.
Raynor, you let him walk all over you. There's a difference between cordial and compliant.
You told me to play nice with others. I don't have to listen to this. I'll finish exploring on my own. What?
What is it?
Open for business.
Sorry you had to hear that. Our family feuds aren't usually so dramatic. Raynor always requires a delicate touch, but he's never stormed off before. He hates being on his own. That whole shadow business. I didn't like the way Raynor let that high elf artificer with a dwarven control rod up his arse order us around. My brother didn't deserve to be treated so poorly. I just wish he believed it too. Before I wounded his pride, we were planning to explore this marvelous machine world. He charged off to prove he didn't need my help, and we know how that's going to turn out. I'll let him cool off, but could you make sure he stays out of trouble? What I said to Raynor was pretty harsh, but he can be so infuriating. Look, he might be a brilliant artificer. Unfortunately, he's a terrible dungeon delver. Without me, he's going to get lost or hurt. Just don't mention me when you see him. There are so many intriguing possibilities, I'm not sure which one he'd try to tackle first. If I were my brother, I'd start by heading into the radius. We talked about using that gulch with the outflow pipe as a base, so maybe begin there? Like Kwama warriors fighting for the affection of their queen. We're siblings, of course we have arguments. Raynor's a thinker, and I'm all about action. Our differences make us a great team, when we're not engaged in a heated debate. No, Raynor needs some alone time. We both do. No sense starting the same fight all over again. You go talk to Raynor. Help him work things out so we can get back to our usual sibling rivalry. Just don't let him know I sent you.
Combatants needed for a perilous task. Please respond for more information.
Looking for a forester in need of some extra gold.
Honest merchant, trust this one.
He's not looking, is he?
It's all right. Let it all out.
Hello again, friend. Don't mind the smell, just baking up a sort of clay souffle. Really scraping the bottom of the ingredient barrel right now. Any luck with those mushrooms? That's great. Let's have a look, eh? Why, that slimy son of a script. He's been lying through his teeth. I could have been growing these mushrooms the whole time. Still, his pickling recipe is just what I needed to make use of them. Great work. I hate the way people look down on slag towners. Maybe it's not enough that I help feed these people something worth eating. We're always going to be struggling until the snooty folks on high see we have something to contribute. Produce something that doesn't just help us get by, but makes people up top take notice. I'd love to take something from my homeland and give it its own slag town flair. We had some root liqueur that would have been perfect, but we drank all we had. No, I can't imagine how hard something like that is to come by in Clockwork City. Maurice never did say how he came by a case of it, but I'm not one to pry. Couldn't hurt to do some... Oh yes, uncommon stuff. Created by Bosmer ages ago in secret using Elden root clippings. Blasphemous against the Green Pact, they say. Me? I don't think I've ever even seen the color green. Never had the stuff before I stumbled on Maurice's stash. Well, it's pretty sweet, you see, and almost syrupy as it is. Reckon it'd make a great base for marinade. Much better than boiler coolant, that much I'm certain. Another slag like me. I'm sure you've seen him around and never noticed him. That's just how it goes for us. He's an ambitious sort, always hoping to find a way out of his position down here. I cheer him up whenever his plans fall through. That case he had stashed was a once-in-a-lifetime find, he said. He was gonna sell it to a buyer and leave this all behind, but the deal fell through. So we wound up drinking the whole thing as a pick-me-up. Foolish. Fun, but foolish. When you put it like that, it does seem like a lot to take on. But hey, I don't think they could think any less of us as it is, so no harm in trying.
Hey, Brent, maybe send your friend to the guild traders. They're trafficking all sorts.
Not a bad idea. They wouldn't give us the time of day, but I bet they'd be eager to help us.
I'm gonna take a stroll.
Is it always this
Please, I
crowded?
need to buy food.
Are you sure about this, Comet? Remember what happened to your mother?
With the Outsider's help, that treasure is as good as mine. Then everyone will see that the prognosticator is a fraud!
When I asked you to help Comet, this wasn't exactly what I had in mind. I want to see our people abandon the reckless pilgrimage to the Grand Prognosticator. But going after the treasure is just as dangerous, maybe even more so. Comet seeks to replace one foolish pilgrimage with another. Very well. I can tell you that the treasure exists. I've seen the wreckage of the merchant caravan myself, but getting close enough to recover it, impossible. Because of the massive fabricant that prowls the area. Gear Grinder is bigger than 3 brawny Nords and 100 times more dangerous. It slaughtered the pilgrims that attempted to recover the treasure. I was the only survivor. I'm still uncomfortable with all this, but I can see that you and Khamid are determined. The wreckage lies scattered far to the south, near the mountains that form the southern border of the radius. Gear Grinder is a killer. Please, keep Khamid safe. Before you go, Khamid mentioned you found Malia's journal. He said it contained a passphrase and mentioned Sotha Seal's honored assistant. Is that true? I'm sorry to say that when I was a young man, I came across a sequence plaque that belonged to one of Sotha Seal's original assistants, an apostle called Albacron. The plaque contained a series of passphrases. That's how I found the lost treasure. They allowed me to change the nature of my pilgrimage. I was able to get the prognosticator to tell me how to locate the lost treasure of the radius, thus altering my future. Or so I hoped. But the fabricant... Maybe our fates are set after all. I'm not sure how I feel, not anymore. But I didn't give Malia the passphrase. She must have found the plaque where I hid it. Maybe if she hadn't... When you return from the wreckage, if you return, I'll tell you more about the passphrases.
Seht. So the seal. Is he... Thank the gears. The people. My people. They're safe. He knew. He knew this would happen. He said I would shine a light one day. Do you see? Everything built to this. Everything. Every battle, every sorrow. It finally makes sense. You asked him that? After all the impatience I showed you, the bad temper? I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I've never met a more altruistic soul. Still, I'm not sure even Seht the seal could save me this time. I feel it in my bones. This is how I end. Perhaps you're right. You know, I asked Seht the seal to spare someone close to me long ago. He refused. Now I see. I understand. I'll try to make your choice mean something. You have my word.
You, working with Brengolin. Come this way. I overheard you talking to Bren about the root liquor, and I had to intervene before you took off on some wild guar chase. Oh, I know you won't. That rare stock was a batch of counterfeit hooch I was trying to pass off on a wealthy mark, but she caught wise. When Bren got into it, I didn't have the heart to tell him it wasn't the real thing. I only made one batch. Suppose I could, but I based it off stuff that isn't easily come by. Part of the mix is wellspring hooch, and I have on good authority that some students of the catalog of rote duplication keep a stash. Off limits, but that's not the hard part. The other main ingredient can't be found in Clockwork City. Stuff was stolen from the private reserve of some silk shirt in Port Hunding. Even if you could get out of this ticking prison, you'd have to smuggle a crate of the stuff back here. I'll believe you when I see it. If you do pull it off, meet me in Slagtown.
The Clockwork City welcomes you.
Ah, my erstwhile companion. You look remarkably coherent. Most mortals caught in a Daedric tempest would suffer some lasting effects. I'm impressed. Baffled, but impressed. Already? I expected him to wait at least a week before summoning me. Seal's concept of time bears only a faint resemblance to our own. You should set out. I'll be along shortly. You didn't, though. Bully for you. In truth, I sought an alternate route to the throne, through the Evergloam. Unfortunately, Nocturnal detected my presence immediately. One of the few burdens of near-divine power. I'm difficult to miss. Trapped? No. Impeded, perhaps? Fortunately, Nocturnal's attention turned to you and the good Proctor when you defeated the Shadow. It gave me the opportunity to pinpoint the object of her fury. You. I followed her to the throne. The rest is history. Taking it all in, I suppose. Surely you won't begrudge me a moment of vulnerability. This place, it is something. I sense that I won't return anytime soon, if at all. When you've lived as long as I have, that actually starts to mean something. One can only marvel at a rival's triumphs for so long before that awe turns to resentment, and I have no time for petty jealousy. I have plans of my own, and countless realms to explore. I can't afford to linger anywhere for long.
Let's ride.
You hold on to that. I could see us resting here. Just for a moment, though.
Thank you both for coming.
Of course, old friend. You seem troubled. More troubled than usual, I mean.
Perceptive, as always. I do not wish to diminish your achievement, but Nocturnal's defeat here will be short-lived. What's more, she does not act alone. A third enemy looms at the edge of my sight. Their covetous eyes are now fixed on the Somerset Isles.
Then we should inform the rest of the Sijiks. They'll need to prepare.
I will inform them personally. I have a separate task for you, Daedric. Take the skeleton key. Keep it hidden for as long as you can. I trust that this task pleases you. After all, your love of such trinkets is what brought you here in the first place.
Sometimes I wonder if you see too much. I will keep it safe.
Farewell, Daedric. We will not meet again. I haven't visited this memorial for centuries, but even I need reminders every now and again. Do you like this place? It took me the better part of a decade to perfect it. Every stone and flower tells a story. Tales of how things were, how they ought to be. I thought about destroying it on more than one occasion. I'm glad I didn't. I know. Ask, and I will answer truthfully. Just know that the truth often fails to satisfy. You expect something grand, but I promised you the truth. I am only what time and circumstance made me. Son of a lost house, friend to a fallen king. Some will tell you that we are the product of our choices. I've never found that to be the case. I am whatever the people need me to be. A guardian, an oppressor. For some, too distant. For others, too meddlesome. I am the canvas upon which they paint their dreams and resentments. A vessel for their hopes and doubts. A mirror, nothing more. I don't. But my companions, Vivek and Almalexia, see their divinity as essential. Godhood brings them joy and purpose. They find meaning in the theatrical. Who am I to deprive them of that? Almalexia defies simple analysis. I doubt she could even describe herself accurately. To understand Almalexia, you must first understand the value of fiction. Vivek fancies himself the poet, but in truth, AM is the greater storyteller. Vivek knows the boundaries that separate fact from fiction. He knows them so well that he's learned how to break them. He exists inside his verse, but recognizes the lies, the contradictions. He both does and does not believe his own tales. She believes her tales implicitly, as does everyone else. Her capacity for deception appears limitless. She sows lies like a master gardener sows seeds, and the harvest of trust and adulation is breathtaking in scope. Not in the slightest. As I said, we are, all of us, bound by our nature. Almalexia does what she does because she cannot do otherwise. It will not end well. But then, even the best endings rarely bring joy. Vivek is my brother. He knows my struggles, and I know his. That knowledge makes our relationship complicated. To truly know someone is as much a curse as it is a blessing. Regret. We are bound by that, at least. He also suffers a kind of enslavement. Not unlike my own, in fact. Beauty holds the keys to his shackles. Beauty and a love of great works, great heights. His appetites are insatiable, thus his despair. Yes, a poet's despair. Vivek craves radical freedom, the death of all limits and restrictions. He wishes to be all things at all times. Every race, every gender, every hero, both divine and finite. But in the end, he can only be Vivek. Not even remotely. I sometimes ask myself the same thing. May I confess something to you? I suffer from a peculiar ailment. Shall I describe it? I bear the cruel weight of certainty. Total, absolute, relentless certainty. People rarely comprehend the luxury of doubt, the freedom that comes with indecision. I envy you. Indeed, but such questions are flaccid, cursory indulgences that come and go in an instant. The truth is that my actions, both good and evil, are inevitable, locked in time, determined by chains of action and consequence. Compelled. This city serves a noble goal, the redemption of Tamriel, the unification of competing forces, the destruction of the Daedra. Unfortunately, it is an endeavor built upon a lattice of corpses. Betrayal, untold horrors. Do you understand? Maybe, the word I covet above all others. Hold to that word, my friend, and never let go. I instructed Devaith to run from the battle that is to come. Now, I urge you to run toward it. Long ago I brokered a truce with the princes of Oblivion. This pact bound 8 princes to an oath that they would never again set foot on Tamriel. Nocturnal was not present when the princes signed the Cold Harbor Compact. Thus she flouts its restrictions. Now, this is important. Nocturnal does not act alone. 2 other princes lie in wait. Clavik is Vile and Mafala. Defeated? Forgive my candor, but Clavik is Vile cannot be defeated through force of arms. Neither can Mafala. I have preparations to make outside my Clockwork realm. You must stay vigilant. Take heed of any Daedric incursions and stand ready to fight. The prisoner wields great power, making reality of metaphor. We will need you before the end. A fool's hope, perhaps. I should explain. Look around you. All of this exists because it must exist. I stand here, in this place, in this moment, not because I wish to, but because I have to. A result of action and consequence. Clever, but incorrect. The prisoner must apprehend two critical insights. First, they must face the reality of their imprisonment. They must see the determinative walls, the chains of causality that bind them to their course. I have, but I fall short of the second insight. The prisoner must see the door to their cell. They must gaze through the bars and perceive that which exists beyond causality, beyond time. Only then can they escape. I see only unsteady walls. If the people of Tamriel must exist inside this cell, I will make sure that the walls are stable, the gaps are sealed, and all who remain stay safe within it. I sometimes ask myself the same thing. May I confess something to you? I suffer from a peculiar ailment. Do you like this place? It took me... I've met few heroes like you. Very few. I take this matter of the Triad upon myself, but in truth, you may be the one that saves us. The prisoner who frees the world. We shall see. Farewell.
He's gone, isn't he? I knew it. I never got to speak to him. Can you believe that? 100 years of loyal service and then, poof, gone. You know, I spent years rehearsing exactly what I would say. I stood in front of the mirror, saying it over and over. Lord Seht, I stand before you as your loyal servant. Prayers of thanks, supplications, on and on. Now I have nothing but questions. Why do we study in the Basilica while people struggle in the streets? Why can't we have birds like the exodromals? How could Daedra break through our unbreakable walls? Why can't we leave? I did yesterday. Today, I'm not so sure. I have a lot of thinking to do, a lot of assumptions to challenge. Who knows? Maybe that's what Seht wanted all along. I owe all this uncertainty to you. You have my gratitude, truly. Uncertainty feels liberating. The world's never seemed so open, so fresh, you know? I sense a new adventure just beginning. Thank you, my friend. And farewell. I think I'll visit the memorial for a while. It seems as good a place as any to be alone with my thoughts.
Creature. It's even worse than Palbatin told us. Look, I appreciate all the help, but I don't want to see you die on my behalf. Are you sure you can deal with that beast? I'm no warrior, you know that. Without you, we wouldn't have gotten this far. I'll stay out of the way, so don't worry about me. Just be safe out there and try not to die. You did it! Thanks to you, we found the lost treasure. This proves the prognosticator isn't an oracle. It's just a machine, and not a very good one at that. Now I can show the people of Slagtown that we're not prisoners to destiny. Yes, my friend, spices. Wonderful, delicious spices. That's the most valuable treasure of all, when your diet consists of nothing but flavorless paste. This will not only improve our lives, it will show my people that our fate is not set in stone. More than that, spices are as rare as a blade of grass in a city of metal. Wealthy mages and apostles will pay dearly for such a tempting treat. But I need to be cautious. Others will try to steal this treasure. I need to hide it to keep it safe. Return to Slagtown and meet me there. Then we can show my people how we changed the outcome of the prognosticator's prediction and improved my destiny. I just wish my mother had lived to see this day.
You could brew something nice with that.